Welcome to another episode of Nobody Asked Us with Des and Kara, presented by Brooks Running, and brought to you, obviously, from Paris. We got the Stade de France. Is that it?
Stade de France.
In the background, she's becoming French. Because of our location in this special episode, we have Ketone IQ on board as a sponsor. Super excited to have them bringing you these episodes and fueling us. Like, I can't even tell you the number of meals I have had here. It's not that many. Ketone IQs I've had a lot. Caffeine I've had a lot.
Okay, I'm going to say I have been eating plenty here, but I have been doing this first thing in the morning and again right before race call.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm crushing life right now. I'm a little bit nervous because Adam and Colt just left, so maybe they were my good luck charm. But this is like really, truly, I'm a believer.
You're a
hardcore.
believer.
I'm not just saying it like, oh, whatever. If you listen to my race calls, I think I'm doing a good job. It's helping me focus
I think
really,
just
really well.
that mental clarity,
Yes.
the ability to lock in, I feel like that's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you are too, and that's what it's for. So head to the show notes. There's a link for you to get 30% off your first order and a free 6-pack of those little shots. We love them, obviously. Try them out, and that's the best way to give it a go and see what you think.
Give it a go and let us know what you think. But
wait.
What?
Also, Ketone IQ, sponsor of Mr. Cole,
the Olympic
Hocker.
fucking champion!
I didn't even see that happening, but that's
good. That was a good bring
show
in.
is about today.
We will try to slide some other stuff in there, but look, all we've talked about since it ended is the men's 1,500 meters.
Did it deliver?
It delivered.
It
and
delivered.
I know what? It's so cool because a year ago, after the World Championships, the war of words started. And sometimes it doesn't live up to the hype. Not only did it live up to the hype, all of these guys will be back next year.
It set the table.
Yeah, this is going
It set the
nowhere.
table. Yes.
I'm so excited. This event is like, it's just gonna be so good for a while to come. But
yeah. I mean,
this is about Cole Hocker and how he won Olympic gold.
That is the story. It's the only story. Everything else is subplot at this point, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to start. Like, they came out and they gave them a little bit of sprinter treatment.
Yeah.
They had actual, like, enters, like, under their flag. They came out, Kerr was getting the crowd going. Nagus was smiling. Cole looked just kind of like he was ready to race.
He's stoic.
Right? Yeah. Even on the starting
Little
line,
smile,
stoic.
But,
and Ingebrigtsen was giving the one.
Yep.
And on the starting line, Ingebrigtsen was kind of breathing hard. Kerr was smiling. Nagus looked more loose, and Hocker completely stoic.
I mean, yeah, across the board, what you saw was confidence and, like, they're just ready, you know?
Yeah. It was cool for me to see a group of guys. I'm sure they were nervous, but they wanted to be there. We've seen some other races here at the games where you can tell people are really nervous. They're out of their element, which is totally normal. That's what happened to me at my first Olympic Games, at my first race anyway, the 10,000. But everyone wanted to be in that moment. And for me, that makes it so cool because you don't want someone's nerves to ruin the outcome, We
hear it all the time, like asterisk, this or that, blah, blah, blah. None of that.
No.
And they, like, their faces at the beginning set the tone, like, you're not going to get, I tested positive for COVID.
Right. No.
That's not coming back. This was the matchup, and everyone was ready, and everyone wanted to be there and was going to do something special.
Yep. So good.
Okay, so gun goes off,
and I thought, they got off the line, and then they all kind of were running across the track, kind of like who's going to take it. And I actually thought Nagus was going to end up taking it.
Yeah.
And I had told Team NBC by 500, Ingebrigtsen will take it and be squeezing. But at the 100, he just went. And I figured he was going to go like 56, 57, 56, hold it there, and then start to squeeze. And I never really shout the first lap because it's like, doesn't matter. Yeah. 54.8 at the quarter. And I was like, oh my God. 54.8.
You were like worried about the world record, I'm sure, at that point. I made this promise on the pod.
It crossed my mind.
And if this comes to a world record finish,
it crossed my mind because I was like, what is happening? They ran 54 high, then they came back with 55 high, and I was like, we might see. And I was like, I guess I'm getting naked. Like, whatever is happening is happening. I don't even care.
Yeah, and I think the thing, it was different. We got to point out that it was just so different. And you're right. I thought there was a decent chance Nagoose would take it because Fast favored him as well, and Jakob didn't necessarily need to take it that early. But
Right.
I feel like it was back to that, like, I'm trying to prove a point as much as I'm trying to win this race, and I'm going to do it in a way that everyone says I can't do it.
I'm going to say I really respected the way he ran that race.
Yeah.
He knows his weaknesses, which is his kick. And he was like, I'm going to go out in 54.8, and that's going to either I'm going to set myself up to be run down, or I'm going to run away with this. And at least I'm going to make them hurt and question everything they thought was going to happen in this moment.
Did you see his face? Like, were you looking at his facial expressions or anything? Like, did he notice the split? Was he like, oh shit, too much?
I'm going to be honest, I didn't notice because I didn't even notice it. I was surprised that he was already in the front, and I was surprised at how hard like Coleman was running so hard. And I was like, what the hell's happening? We're only 300 meters into the race. And then Chariot was struggling to stay up there. Like, he moved into second, and then he started to fade back, and I was like, what is going on? Well, then when I heard this one, I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. Got it. I was a little nervous for Cole Hocker in that first lap. It seemed like that pace took him off by surprise a little bit. He was a little spastic. He kind of got spit towards the back, and I was like, oh man, he needs to move his way up, which he did beautifully.
Right.
But that first lap, I was like, oh man, Cole, like, you gotta, I think I might have even said I haven't watched the replay because I was up really late redoing some replay stuff, and so I obviously had seen it, but I didn't want to watch it again because I wanted to still kind of try to be like, not remember fresh. Exactly what happened. But what I remember is I might have even said it being like, he needs to reattach himself a little bit because he can't give them that much space, right? Like, he has a kick that no one else has, but he has to be in a realistic contention because they also
for
can kick.
A third,
yes,
right? That's
exactly.
not what he wants to be doing. But I do think that aggressive pace from the beginning, you have like a little moment or two of jostling and like racing before you need to race.
Yeah.
But once it's that fast, you're just on the, like, everyone's like, you know.
It seemed like the first lap, everyone was like, this is not what I thought was going to happen. This is way faster. But by lap 2, everyone was like, okay,
we got to go.
This is what we're doing. And then all of a sudden it went from like people straining and being out wide and stuff to single file line. This is what we're doing. Like, we're going to hurt the entire 1,500 meters tonight. And that's what we're going to do.
Go through 800. What's the split?
It was 150 high, I think. 150 high, 151. Super fast. I was surprised that it was a little bit slower, but at the same time I wasn't, because they went out in 54.8. And at that point, everyone had reattached single file line. And Ingebrigtsen was pushing still. And like I said, I haven't watched the replay. I feel like maybe he was pushing, maybe even got a step of daylight at one point. But Kerr looked so good. It was like Kerr was like, yep, I'm ready. I'm just like you said on the pod the other day. I'm ready for new territory. I'm ready to be here. I know it's going to hurt. I mean, he said that all year. Like, it's going to be a war and it's going to be awful, and I'm ready for it. And so it seemed like he looked so composed. And then Hocker was getting himself up there. And even though he didn't look fluid, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't tell you much, right? It doesn't.
As long as he's there, that's what matters. And so I was like, holy crap, like, Cole Hocker is back on this. And Nagoose was a little bit back, but then he started to move. And I mean, I would love to have those guys on. You guys tell them to come on. I felt a little bit like Nagoose was gaining confidence from Hocker.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I've run faster than he's ever run. He's putting himself in it. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself right now or be scared. And I don't think that Nagoose was scared. I'm just saying, I think that
I can run with that guy.
Yeah. When Hocker was there, he was like, I know I'm just as good as him.
Right.
And I think that I don't know, but I'd love to talk to them about that. I feel like when he's, I'm sure the pace caught everybody off guard but Ingebrigtsen. And then I think he was like, Hocker's going for it. I can run with Hocker. I got to move around and get myself in position.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think a few of these guys said it in the post-race presser, but it was like, we watched what Grant did, and it gave us confidence. And, like, we felt like we had to step up because we belong in the medals too. And so that was cool to see. Again, is that distance momentum that we haven't
Yes.
had in a long time, and that self-belief just like starts buoying people up.
Yeah.
That was super cool to see. And with Kerr, the way he was responding, the team like kind of internally at Brooks had talked about his indoor race with Grant Fisher where he was going for the world record, and they were like, he felt like he was slipping a little bit in the middle, and he was like, I just have to hurt in a whole new way. Like, I need to just stick with this and see if I can come out the other side. If I blow up, and that's okay. But I'm going to hurt until I blow up. And then once you get through a little patch of it and you realize you're not going to die, it starts giving you confidence. And I think that race, he was like, I don't care what the number says. I'm going, and I know it's going to hurt as much or more as that indoor race, but I'm ready for it.
I was hoping, I don't know if I said it out loud or not, but I was hoping that like they are all not looking at the clock.
Mm-hmm.
They are all just like, it's do or die. I'd rather blow up and be eighth than let this moment slip away. And it seemed like that's what they were all doing. Kerr looked so composed. He ran the perfect race. I don't feel like, I do think his kick is normally a little bit stronger, but we haven't seen him kick in a 327 race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's never run 327. So, I don't know. He might have been 328 last night.
I think so.
But still, he's never run 328. So we've never had to see him kick off that pace, right?
Pace, sure.
And so I think you run that race again. Maybe he has a little more in the final 50. Like you were talking about, it's unknown territory, but I thought he ran the perfect race. And heading into the bell, I was like, Ingebrigtsen's not going to win.
Yeah.
He hasn't done enough. Josh Kerr, it looks too good. And Hocker, even though I could tell he was on the rails, and not on the rail physically, but like, like the feeling it. They hadn't dropped him. And I was like, this is going to be interesting.
It's funny. I feel like from my perspective, and maybe I'm missing it from where I was sitting, but it looked like Ingebrigtsen had created the tiniest of gaps.
He had.
And it was like, that was
what I remember
that
too.
was the decision point. And as soon as it opened up, just as quickly it was filled up, right? Yep. Like, so you knew, and I think for him, like, he gains that confidence by creating that separation.
That little bit of space.
He never noticed it. He never felt like, oh, this is working. And it was like, holy shit, everyone's still here.
Right.
And that's when he got himself in trouble.
Right. So they come on that final lap, they're down the backstretch, and I was like, okay, this is where Kerr's going to move somewhere now in the next 200 meters. He was patient. He was patient, I thought. He showed a lot of patience waiting till that turn. But Cole Hocker, I could see with 150, if he's not done, you haven't done enough. Right. The problem now is, where is he going to have room? Mm-hmm. And he actually ran up on Ingebrigtsen and touched the back of him with like 110 to go because he had nowhere to go.
Right.
And I saw him glance to the right, like this moment of like, do I drop back and go around them?
Right.
But then this is what he's so good. And, you and Garrett Heath and I were talking about this a little bit. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. One of the things that I am beyond impressed with him is he does not panic. And he just believes it's going to open up. And it's like a gift from God. It does.
Yeah.
He does not panic. And after the race, when we were going to do this replay sequence at 2 a.m., they showed me this footage of him. And I said, pause it right there. See how his left foot goes to the left? The opening isn't there yet.
It's not there, yeah.
But he knows. He is so instinctual. He just knows. Ingebrigtsen's going to drift to hold Kerr off. And I'm going to get the gold medal right through here.
And
so I had them pause, and you can see his left foot. He's running straight. All of a sudden, his left foot goes like that. And look, I didn't notice it in the moment.
Sure.
But it was watching it back. That guy is so talented. It's one thing to have a good kick, and it's one thing to have good instincts. But the combination gets you an Olympic gold medal.
You're deadly. You're absolutely deadly. And I think a lot of that Josh Ingebrigtsen comments beforehand, all of the tension there, like, he's going to cover Josh. I'm going to this is the guy I need to beat.
Yep.
I love going back and listening to the next guy comment.
Yep.
Because you're right. There is a next guy, and there's a next guy, and there's a next guy, and they've all closed the gap on you, and you belong in it now. That's just a group of really good guys. Yep. And I think, Cole showed he might be the top of that pack.
I think it was interesting that Cole Hocker was not left out of the conversation by anyone following the sport, but in the lead up, it was like, could Nagu shake it up?
Right.
And even I was in that because Cole Hocker has had such a hard time staying healthy.
Right.
And I think, he got through that collegiate season his sophomore year, won the Olympic trials, made it to the Olympic trials final, or the Olympic final, gets sixth. And it was like, holy crap, who's this kid going to be? And then the next year he had a stress fracture. And then in 2023, he started off the year injured, and he was healthy enough to sneak on the team. Honestly, last year, I think he was third. Then go to World Championships and get seventh. And you just had to think, if this kid can stay healthy, what could he be, right? And he has finally had a year and a half of being healthy, and now we get to see. But because of that, because of his injuries, he hasn't been left out of the overall conversation. But I actually think it was a benefit.
I agree
that everyone's building this package of this rivalry, whether you're NBC, any other
BBC, whoever
you are, and then a mention of Nagoose. And Cole Hocker is just like, but you know what? I noticed it at the trials.
Yeah.
He didn't do long interviews after his semis, his prelims. Right. He would answer 2 questions. He'd say, I got to go warm down. He'd be drinking his drink already. And I said the night before the event, not that it matters, but I said, I know we've been focusing on Nagoose all year, but I really think Cole Hocker is going to win this thing tomorrow. And so we kind of shifted and what we were looking for. And this is a little bit of background information. So we were supposed to have Nagoose's family mic'd up. And then NBC said they can only mic up one family. They can have cameras on multiple families. And I said, I feel bad saying this, but I think you should mic up Cole Hocker's family. And I mean, they both medaled, so you could not have gone wrong. But
get more mics.
Yeah. I just felt like, again, he was so focused through the rounds. Nagoose impressed me so much.
The way he rallied through this meet.
That's when I was, The guy that showed up last night is not the guy we saw in the prelim, and he did not let it get to him. He came back in the semi and shook it out, and then he came back for the final, like the Nagoose that we believed could be a medalist.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, impressive.
Totally delivered. I think that's you can't be emotional about those moments. I mean, he's not thinking, oh, I looked bad in the opening round. It's like, I got through, like, let's put that one behind us. It's done. Focus on the next thing. And he just built momentum and got it. Like, I mean, getting it right on the right day and all of those pieces coming together, just incredible.
It was awesome. I mean, he was flying down. Now, there are people who ask me, did he get silver? He did not get silver. He came so close.
He did.
But even my producer sent me the photo, and it looked close. But once they put that line through, the official line, it was clear. His head was before Kerr, but his torso was not. And it's the torso.
The official thing that breaks the tape is the torso. And you can go on the Olympics results site, and there's actually a photo finish picture up there, and they draw it. They literally draw the line, so you can see.
And it was 1/100th of a second, which is not. It's nothing, but it is significant. I mean, the men's 100 was separated by 5 1,000, and this was 100. So, but what a rally from him, because he rallied down. Like, when they came off the turn, we were only looking at 3 men.
Right.
And then one of those men didn't get a medal.
Right.
And someone else did, and that was Nagoose.
Do you think that Ingebrigtsen's change in plan cost him that? Was he focusing too much on Josh, or is that, I mean, there's always another kicker. Like, he had to shake the kick out of Josh, and he did. That's why Josh was in gold.
We know that Ingebrigtsen can run 3:26. So this isn't to take away from anybody last night, but the winning time was 3:27.6. Fifth fastest person of all time now, Cole Hocker, an Olympic record. But, 0.7 seconds slower than what we know that what Ingebrigtsen has done. I do think it cost him the bronze, perhaps.
Right.
Because I think if he went out a couple seconds slower, I think he would have been more solid through that final 200. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because that's how the race was run.
Right.
And
he didn't want the bronze.
He didn't want the bronze. He ran to win.
Right.
And I, love Josh Kerr, hate Ingebrigtsen. Hate Ingebrigtsen, or no. Love Ingebrigtsen, hate Josh Kerr. Whatever side you fall on, I just respected the way both of them ran, the way both of them came to this meet, the way they engaged the fans, and I really respected the way that Ingebrigtsen ran last night. Just what you said. He was like, I'm not coming here to get a medal. I'm coming here to become the second person to ever win back-to-back gold medals, or the second man ever to win 2 titles in this event. and I'm going to make them hurt and suffer if they're going to beat me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it cost them a podium moment maybe, but
I think the world leveled up in the last couple of years. Like there's so much depth, and it's hard to beat the field. Like you can beat one guy, but can you beat everyone? I mean, I think about that just in terms of trying to win a Boston.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, I'll go to the front and push, and like, I was third, I was fifth, whatever.
Right.
Like that's just that's a tall order, and I think he always needed a little bit of help. If anybody had gone that first 100, 200, 300, maybe it's a different story, but it's not.
It's not.
So.
It is what it is. I want to go back to the 1500 because I want to talk about Hobbs Kessler,
Thank
but
you.
I do want to say when Ingebrigtsen decides to move to the 10,000, the event is going to change dramatically. No one, this isn't to be mean, but Cheptegei ain't running 326.
Right.
Not even close. It's not happening.
I just hate looking forward. I hate looking forward and be like, when what's he gonna do next? What is he gonna deliver next? Because he's a 326 guy.
I know, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine being that fast
And not being able
but
to
not
push.
having that final speed.
Right.
Which, remember, he did win an Olympic gold medal 3
Yeah.
years ago, so it's not like this guy sucks or something. But he misses that last little bit of turnover, and so what can he do? I feel like he did everything he could last night. I'm trying to imagine a situation in which he wins.
Right.
With those three men showing up the way they did, I don't see one.
Right. There's too many different strategies and too many different strengths that
of the other men.
You can't beat the field.
Right.
You can beat two, you can beat one, or you can blow up. But like to win that way.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that he needs to move up. I'm not saying. I'm just saying I know how he trains. He's an aerobic base trainer.
Yeah.
We're going to see him again in the 5,000. I'm not allowed to pick favorites, but I'm actually like really, really rooting for him to win.
Yeah.
And he's the 2-time defending world champion right now in the 5,000.
He's pretty good at the 5.
And with the way he trains, he just got 4th at the Olympics running 328. So no one's saying he needs to go away, or 321. I don't know what he ran. I'm tired, but none of those guys that we've seen in the 10,000 have that kind of speed. No one that we've ever seen, ever. I don't care if you're talking about Kele. I don't care. No one. And I mean, Cheptegei's world record holder. He could not make that final if his life depended on it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be exciting times, I think. Not yet.
Don't go there yet.
There's more drama.
Saying,
more drama to come.
It's exciting for me to think he's only 23 years old, right?
That's crazy.
And so it's like, I know he's devastated. He posted on Instagram. Did you see his Instagram post?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I just want to say about that is I appreciated that as a mother. I appreciated that post. He acknowledged his competitors. He talked about his trash talking. I thought if I was his mom, I'd be very proud of that. But everyone being like, he's so classy. I'm like, guys,
hold on.
One post does not erase the fact that he said that Josh Kerr has no balls or that he's the Brit that never races. I mean, like, come on. Like, they're entertainers, but all of these men have been classy in their own way.
Yes.
So I'm not taking away from Ingebrigtsen because I respect the hell out of what he did last night, and I respect what he does in general. But I was laughing at all of the what a class act. I'm like,
he owned one moment, you know? Like, okay, I'll own it this time.
Yeah, he stepped into like he did. Like as a mom, I was like, if that was my son, I would have been like, I am very proud of you for doing that. But it doesn't change.
Let's still work on all of this.
And actually, I don't want him to stop. Yeah, it makes it fun. But it was just funny to me how everyone's like, "What a classy guy!" And I was like, "Okay, guys, sure. Do you not remember what happened like in the last 365 days?" But
did we give Hobbs Kessler his flowers?
No, we gotta go. We gotta talk about Hobbs Kessler.
Fire away. You're on a roll.
No, I feel bad because I didn't even notice him.
I know.
I did not. So hopefully you did. I did not notice him until we put the results up, and I said literally on live TV, Hobbs Kessler got 5th.
Yeah.
I almost interrupted Lee because he was talking. I was pointing at the
arm
street.
slap, right?
He ran 3:29. He's 21.
Right.
21 years old. And Hobbs Kessler, look, he went out of high school. You know, rumored big Adidas contract. He goes from high school to the Olympic trials in 2021. And I think he made it out of the prelim, doesn't make it out of the semi.
Early, right.
And then he's kind of looked hot and cold. Like he'll run a fast time, but tactically he looked like, he's got a lot to learn. Well, I mean,
right.
If my child or if I had an athlete, I'd be like, let's go talk to Hobbs Kessler. This year he was like, you know what I suck at? Tactics. I'm running indoors where the turns are tight.
Everything matters.
Everything
Every step
matters. Every step matters. Exactly. I'm going to do that. Goes to World Championships, wins a freaking bronze medal when he admits that he is so nervous beforehand. Then he races all these races out, in the outdoor season, and he looked the most composed in the first 2 rounds, right? Of the Americans.
Yep.
Just like on a mission, no drama, never had to kick into position, never had to like fumble for anything. Just there. And I didn't notice him last night. So shit, I want you to notice.
No, I mean, that's the whole thing is everyone had eyes on the top 3, even the top 2. And then it was like, oh, surprise. I did the same thing. I was like, holy shit, he's 5th. Like, that's amazing. The time is incredible. And he's running so savvy. He's learned so much this year. He's a guy that you can say, like, I can't wait for the future because I think that's how things have been set up for him. Like, he felt disappointed and like, I should have been in that final at this stage. So making the team this time around was more of a relief than like a victory. I mean, he said that at the trials, like, I'm just relieved. This is like why Adidas bought into me. And, I feel like I didn't deliver last time. And now like we're back on the plan. Well, what's the rest of the plan? LA 28, 100%.
I mean, we talk about Ingebrigtsen and Hocker only being 23 and Kessler's 21. But in experience years, he's like 17, right?
Right, he's a baby.
And so I'm just like, the future is so good in this event and in the United States.
Yes.
This event is like going to be one that we're talking about for a long time, which is exciting. We apologize for all the sirens. Good grief. But yeah, Hobbs Kessler, I feel so bad. I did not notice him. And then the results went up and I was like, what? Americans went 135?
135.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the sort of thing, Cole's race, breaking the tape. Really surprising. I don't know. They said shocked the world, which I'm not sure that was the case. Like, anybody who's paying attention knew that was a real possibility. And then everyone's like coming out of the woodworks now. Called it. It's like, well, yeah, we all knew there was. And also,
if you called it, who cares? He did it.
Right.
You didn't do
make
it
happen,
he
right?
Did it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that moment and then the depth of it is going to make every young boy who's picking up a pair of spikes want to be Cole Hocker or want to be a medalist or want to be in the 1500 meters, which is really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, that race, it just, sometimes you hype stuff so much and then you're kind of like, meh, but that race, it was beyond what I thought it was going to be.
I agree. I mean,
just so good.
It just brought one more person into the conversation. And like I've been talking about this a lot, but we have very real rivalries.
Yeah.
And our sport needs rivalries. We need consistent rivalries. We have a bunch of young guys who now can match up and you can tell a long form story and it's going to be interesting almost every time, which is what we're missing. Like, those rivalries are fantastic and they're not going away anytime soon. And
I'm sure that the top 5 are just completely gassed emotionally and physically, but I just want to see them all in a 325 rabbited race because I think one of them could snag the world record.
Yes.
And I'm not even saying who it would be.
Right. We don't know.
I don't know, but I would love to see you give me Ingebrigtsen, Kerr, Hocker, Nugus, Kessler, give them 2 pacers out front. Someone takes them through the 800, someone takes them through another K, and then they race. You leave the pace lights on. Someone is getting that world record.
Right. And it's the perfect thing, too, because, yes, it's about the time, but you'd still want to have the bragging rights by winning that race. Even if you didn't get it, it would be like everyone would watch. Like, well, they're going for the world record, but I also want to see who wins.
I want to see who wins.
So that's perfect.
I want to see that happen. I doubt it's going to happen this year.
And then you're
Guys,
like,
I know you're really tired, but
someone's hurt. Someone's coming back from something. Someone's scheduling their season different.
I mean, bravo to all their coaches for getting them ready at the right time, which is super hard to do. As we've seen over and over again in these Olympics, people come in dinged up or just worn out or whatever. They all nailed it when it mattered. Yeah. That's tough to do.
Right. Do we come down from that? Do we come down from that? we just put a period on this thing.
Yeah, someone was asking me, are you excited about the women's? Of course we are. Of course we
Right.
are. I think that Faith is a little vulnerable after that 5,000. And Jessica Hall looked crazy yesterday to me. Nikki Hiltz looked so good. St. Pierre went with Hall, even though she didn't need to. Did you see that?
Yeah,
she went with her because she was like, remember that I know that you're just around 350, but remember I always beat you, or I'm always like within one step of you. So yes, we are hyped about the women's race too. But what we don't get from the women is we don't get the trash talking.
No, a little less.
Yeah, I mean maybe we hear a little underground.
Yeah,
but they don't say it out loud.
Okay. I will say, last night the stadium redeemed itself. Women's 200 introduced in a big way, in the big sprint way.
Yep.
It capped off the meet, and it was pretty fantastic. I thought it delivered.
It was great. Gabby Thomas won like decisively. I know that Otto and Sonia thought she might scare the world record, but I think one of the things about Gabby is she normally comes off the turn behind and has something to run down.
There's nothing there.
And she came out in front. And they didn't say that, and I was talking to them later, and they're like, maybe. So maybe that's just my own analysis that's wrong. But a decisive victory for her. And I'm just super impressed with Jillian Alfred. I mean, think about becoming an Olympic champion. She said she got 2 hours sleep between that. She wins the 100 at night. The next morning, she has to run the first round of the 200 on less than 2 hours of sleep. Right. And to come back and get silver, I was like, that was good. And Brittany Brown,
that's a cool
always
story.
A cool story. Right. Like, was never a state champion, never an NCAA champion, didn't get recruited hard, didn't sign a contract out of college. And now she's has an Olympic bronze medal.
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got back from the morning, well, it's afternoon now, the morning session, which was crazy. We won't get into it because you have things to do, but the 5,000s, go watch them back or catch them wherever they're doing replays. Watch them in the full entirety if you can, because there was some crazy falls. The heats were massive, like they were 19, 20 person heats. They had to be. I didn't look at the numbers, but they were just big. And so many people fell that there's probably going to be a bigger final.
It's a bigger field. So I haven't been able to watch them yet because I had breakfast with Adam and Colt before they left. But top 8 in each heat advanced. Right. So a final of 16. And it is going to be a final of 20 men, which lends to exactly what just happened.
Right. That's why we have the
that many men, 19, 20 men at the similar level, that championship style racing on the line, and stuff happens. So it's good that they advance the other guys, I guess. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure that's what they do.
Should have been 3 heats.
But there should have been 3 heats. Yeah. If you're gonna have a full Olympic field size and it's gonna be 38 or 40, I mean, now the final is gonna be dangerous.
It is.
But multiple favorites out, I will say. Cheptegei pulled out. Jacob Kiplimo pulled out from Uganda. Cheptegei won it last time, won the 10,000 the other night, pulled out. Kiplimo pulled out, also said he was tired. And today, Luis Grijalva, who's been 4th at the last 2 world champs, I didn't see it, so I don't know what happened.
I don't feel like he really got in trouble. I felt like he just he didn't have a kick.
And what about Abdi Noor? He was last.
He fell.
He fell,
and
okay.
I think he looked so good.
Okay, that's good to hear.
And I hope that he gets in.
Okay,
but
so
I
4
feel
people
like
are advanced. Hopefully he was one of them.
So far he's not.
Oh.
And I think there might be still some jostling positioning, fighting down with the referees or whoever's making that call. But I don't believe he was in. We should look it up because...
Yeah, we'll look it up. We shouldn't talk about it anymore. But I will just say that Grant Fisher is running... He's running...
Yeah, he's confident and smooth.
And he's just like in the fitness of his life.
Yeah.
And removing... And this isn't to say he wasn't going to medal without Cheptegei being in there. Yeah. But the more of these guys you remove...
Right. The path is getting clearer, and he's not having to do...
He had a shot with all those guys in it. Now you take Grijalva and Cheptegei out of there and Kiplimo out of there.
And Graham Blank's in the final.
Blank's, yeah, I was trying to do a little run, and I saw a bunch of Go Graham shirts, and I was like, yay! So good for him, Harvard guy.
Yeah, long year.
Yeah, long year. We will just say women's steeple was last night. Really fast, Olympic record, 8:52 for Winford Yavi of Bahrain, who was she's a reigning world champion. I was texting with Emma Coburn a little bit, and she's known Yavi for a really long time. Courtney Wayman had a strong race in 12th, and Val Constantine ended up 15th, I think. She said she was just out a little too hot. I mean, the race was out so hard. It was out at like 8:40 something pace. It was under world record pace. And then it kind of like went back and forth, and then ended up 8:52. So crazy race there. Beatrice Chepkoech, who's the world record holder and has been for a very long time, who's a world champion, many world championship medals, never won an Olympic medal, unfortunately shut out of the medals once again. 33. It's hard to imagine she'll be at the Olympics at 37. So
it's a tough thing to do. I can confirm Nur at this moment is not in.
And he was caught up in it.
He was caught up, and he was looking really good. So watch those, and you can weigh in on what you think happened. It's really hard to see from the stadium.
Yeah,
but there was a lot of people hitting the track.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys.
We need to do a top one.
Oh shit.
Oh, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
What do you think it should be? The sun's out.
I mean, honestly, I kind of want to toss it to all the American men.
The Ollie Pop. Look good. We'll do a podium. An Ollie Pop podium. Third place.
Hobbs Kessler.
Yay, he gets a medal.
Yard and Goose. And the winner, S-Hocker.
Love it.
I mean, all 5 in that race. So impressive.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. We have a World Championships a year and a month away. And I hate looking ahead too, but I love this for the event because people are engaged now and people are in. And when we get mega media to care,
which
is matters.
What Cole is going to be doing.
Cole, good luck, buddy.
Go to work. Go to work, pal.
And I'm going to say he's going to be working his ass off for the next week. It seems glamorous, but it is to a certain extent because you're the Olympic champion. But he is going to be on every show working his ass off for all of us who love the sport. So thank you, Cole, in advance.
Exactly.
You're a ketone athlete, so make sure you keep pumping these.
Crack some ketones. Stay fueled.
But he's going to be on what they call a world tour, and he's going to be selling the sport for all of us. So
that's great.
So thank you to all those guys, and thank you guys for listening and saying that we called it. We didn't call it. We just love the sport, and we gave you some inside info that lived up to the hype. See ya.